Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. I'm trying to
Hare
logging
Krishna
through my
Mataji.
I'm trying
Hare
to log
Krishna
in through my
Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Just a minute. Hare Krishna. So my system is about to start. Meanwhile, I'll start with the prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaya Kadamahyam Dadanti Swapadantikam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatadeshatarini Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Yadavaya Namaha Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha Hara Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha Yadavaya Madhavaya Govindaya Namaha Sri Krishna Hari Bol Gopala Hari Bol Radha Ramana Govinda Hari Bol Sri Krishna Hari Bol Gopala Hari Bol Radha Ramana Govinda जय राधा गोविंद राधा गोविंद राधे जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय जय पंचतत्व जय पंचतत्व पंचतत्व जय पंचतत्व जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल Hare Krishna. Welcome you all to the level 2 class of Bhagavad Gita. Yesterday we have learned about the chapter number 6, and today further we are going to go in detail of this chapter number 6. So yesterday we stopped near Ashtanga Yoga. Today we'll continue from there. Hare Krishna. Hope it was clear yesterday what all we have learned. Any doubts you can always ask. Shri Shri Radha Govind ki jai. So what do you mean by Ashtanga Yoga? Anybody from the audience? From what we have learned yesterday? How many limbs does it have?
8 limbs.
8 limbs.
Yeah. And what are the components of that?
Yama, Niyama.
कल के लिए है कि नहीं हाँ तो बस ठीक है कल निकाल देंगे तो
Yama, Niyama.
Asana, you can see the slide. I think everybody is able to see my slide.
Yes,
Yes,
Mother.
Mataji.
Can see and say.
Yama,
Yama.
Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi.
Hare Krishna. So we will come to know in detail about this. How much is this going to help us? So this is a meditative pose where a yogi is totally absorbed in meditation and he's concentrating between the brows, that is near the Ajna chakra and the tip of the nose, and completely absorbed in in the remembering the Lord. Okay. Yeah, I wanted the devotee volunteers to use this one by one. One can read the first, then the niyama, then the asana, pranayama. Okay?
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Yama, he should live alone in a secluded place and should always carefully control his mind.
Yeah.
Niyama, temperate in his habits of eating, sleeping, working, and recreation.
Okay.
Asana, lay kusha grass on the ground and then cover it with a deer skin. The seat should neither be too high nor too low and should be situated in a sacred place. One should hold one's body, neck, and head erect in a straight line and stare steadily at the tip of the nose. Thus, with an unagitated, subdued mind, devoid of fear, completely free from sex life, one should meditate upon me. Pranayama, practice stopping the movement of the outgoing breath
And
into the incoming and outgoing,
and thus at last remain in a trance.
yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So going to a secluded place and having a regulative eating habits, sleeping, and the working habits, a proper meditation posture where you can see this yogi is totally absorbed in a trance, isn't it? And meditating upon the Lord. So these are the different limbs of the Ashtanga Yoga. Next, yes, Mata, you can continue. Or any other devotee wanted to read? Yes, they can. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, can I? Pratyahara, cessation of material existence. Dharana, disciplines disciplines his mental activities and becomes situated in transcendence. devoid of all material desire, he is said to have attained yoga. Dhyana. As a lamp in a windless place does not waver, so the transcendentalist, whose mind is controlled, remain always steady in his meditation on the transcendent self. Samadhi. One is never shaken even in the midst of greatest difficulty. This indeed is actual freedom from all miseries arising from material contact. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. So, what is the difference between this eight-limbed yoga and our Krishna consciousness, Bhakti Yoga? Hare Krishna. Anybody from the audience?
That is a slow process, and Bhakti is the fastest process.
Slow, fast. Better words, Prabhu. You can phrase it in a better way.
Mataji,
That is
here we
step by step.
have to look for the prerequisites. There are so many prerequisites here, but in Krishna consciousness, there are no prerequisites. And if we continue following the path of Krishna consciousness, our mind will at last go steady.
Yes, Prabhu, Manoj Prabhu, yes, you can say your inputs.
Yeah, there is step by step to go to Bhakti Yoga. You have to go a lot of process you have to follow.
Yeah, as said, so you don't have to do a different principles and practice. You see, it's not that I'm sitting on a meditative pose and I just can meditate upon the Lord, isn't it? It is next to impossible, isn't it? It takes some time and practice. So maybe some days, some months and years, depending on one's capacity, isn't it? So similarly, if he says, yeah, sorry, where are we? Similarly, if we thought of sitting down in one posture, is it possible for a humanly this thing to concentrate on that? No, no.
Yeah, in this age is not possible in Kali Yuga.
That's what. So similarly, withdrawing the senses, concentrating on the tip of the nose. The moment we stop our eyes, everything else will come into our mind except for the sadhana, isn't it? It is like his mind. You know that example where one sage will say to an aspirant, a spiritual aspirant, think of a Lord or any other thing what you have in your mind, but except for the monkey. So, and after say suppose 10 or 15 minutes or a couple of minutes, he'll come back and he'll ask him, what did you thought of? Then he says, except for monkey, I couldn't thought of any other thing. So mind is so restless and it's always deviated and all. So it's very, very difficult to control it first and put it back into one place and try to do all these practices. So which is very difficult. So similarly, the karma yoga, jnana yoga, all these things, yes, we can excel it, but it's an indirect way. It will take some time. We may reach, we may not reach. So bhakti yoga is the ultimate thing, which is the food for the soul. If we try to do that from the very beginning, eventually we will become expertise in that. So that is the ultimate destination. So for the mental stability and clearness of the mind, or the soul is satisfied, or serving the Krishna philosophically, spiritually, we want to advance, means we have to take care of our soul by feeding it the food what it wants. That is doing the Krishna Prema. In that way only we can attain that. Okay. Natiyastana Asthanatastu yogoस्थि न चैकान्तं अनाश्नता न चाति स्वप्नशील्यस्य जाग्रतो नैव चार्जुन. There is no possibility of once becoming a yogi or Arjuna if one eats too much or eats too little and sleeps too much or does not sleep enough. Okay, so there are certain parameters. Getting up early for Mangalarti and attending the aarti. Yeah, you can have a power nap in the daytime and going early to bed, and rest of the time doing a routine course and doing the sadhana, doing service for the Lord. So likewise, we have to plan our life. Okay, not indulging into excess of this. If we are indulging, and that means unless we are suffering from some disease or something like that, we shouldn't be too much engaging sensual enjoyment. That is, even the food, sleep, all these things are the sensual enjoyments only. So one should engage oneself in the practice of yoga with a determination and a faith, and not to be deviated from the path. And one should abandon without exception all material desire which are born of mental speculation, and thus control all the senses on all the sides by being the mind. Okay, so automatically this Krishna conscious process is such a way when we are doing it, everything else, it will go away. Anybody can give their inputs who are practicing, started from 1 mala, was progressed to 4 malas or 5 malas or 16 mala. You can see your journey, what you have experienced. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Anybody? You can share your realizations. No? Hare Krishna. Nobody has any realization? So from wherever the mind wanders due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self. So for example, if we can say, we are not attending Gita classes before, now we are attending. There's some amount of interest to join, to learn, to know exactly what exactly is being taught in particular chapters and all. So before that, when we are not having any knowledge about this particular topic, then we will like something great or different emotions, I can't say. So once you are started on a journey, you're a different person, isn't it? More inquisitiveness to know about the Lord, more inquisitive to know about the sadhanas and how do you progress and getting associated with the devotees and all that. So isn't it? So
Yes,
many,
yes, yes.
yeah, please share your individual realizations. Realizations means the journey. One before Krishna consciousness, once you have taken up these Gita classes, what are the changes you have come across in your life? I mean to say.
Pleasant mood,
Hare
ma'am.
Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Stress management Mataji.
Personally.
Means first I was started one round Mahamantra Mataji. For me that while I am studying, I have to study that this and all. It was like I was a little bit tense. I had to do this and that. Gradually, after 1 week and 2 weeks, again I started 2 rounds, 3 rounds, like that. Now I'm doing 6 rounds, Mataji. That what we call now I'm not getting that dilemma or any stress, anxiety, and all. It is very understanding and informative classes, Mataji. Thank you for conducting us. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. So definitely when we are bored, I can say previously we used to think what to do, whether to call a friend, speak to somebody or known, or watch the TV. But now when chanting has become a part of your life, whenever you get time, you feel like inshallah, let us chant 1 round extra of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. It is so magical, right? So it has occupied a space in your life and it has become a habit, and you feel incomplete without it, isn't it? Any other from the audience? Hare Krishna. Anybody else from the audience? No? Shashank Prabhu, you can say your realization if the participants are not willing to say.
Sure, Mataji. Mataji, before chanting, my mind used to be so agitated. It was like here and there all the time. And whenever I used to get bored, I used to, look for the people with whom I can talk. But now, since I ch started chanting, it's like my mind is calm and I am very much aware about my emotions. Whenever I get angry, I know how to control them. And whenever I get angry, I just take the name, like I just chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra in my mind, and just it just vanishes away. And yeah, there are so many changes to it. As you said that before it was uh, like right now when I don't chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, it feels like very incomplete. Like it does not feel like complete. It feels like something is missing in my life. So and whenever I chant, it's like so pleasant. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. See, I can say it is something like a medicine, Say, suppose you are a patient for some disease. Say, suppose diabetes or hypertension or a thyroid medication or any other medication or a fever. Once you have taken a medication, now you are free, isn't it? The medicine will take care of your bodily ailments or illness, whatever it is, isn't it? You can
Yes,
even
Mataji.
Similarly, the food for the soul or the medicine for the soul is chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra.
It's
So,
true, Mataji.
yeah, once we have done that, then you're like free, the moment you finish the 16 rounds in the morning. So the whole day you feel, let any problem come to me. I will face it very happily, or whatever that, what do you say, the problem solving ability or any sort of distressful situation will not shake you from anything. You're equally equipped and prepared for any sort of uncertainty. Not that we are inviting, but if anything comes also, we'll be in a position to handle it. So that gives you that confidence within that, yes, I have done my part today. Krishna, you are there with me with all the time and to help me out in whatever the endeavors I'm doing, isn't it? That is the feeling for 16 rounds. And for any round, 1 round, 2 round, people are doing, respectively, they have that feeling, isn't it? So that is the feeling we get when we are serving the Krishna. So that feeling should intensify to an extent that whatever the activity which are happening in our day-to-day life, whether it's a Karma Yoga thing or a Jnana Yoga thing or any other activity what we are doing, we could able to know his presence and help in each and every step of our life. Okay, the ultimate purpose of doing the sadhana is that. Okay, the yogi whose mind is fixed on me verily attains the highest perfection of transcendental happiness. And he is beyond the mode of passion. He realizes his qualitative identity with the supreme, and thus he feels freed from all reactions to the past years. So if you can take example of Draupadi, she was taken in the courtyard where everybody, except there is no female there except for her, and she's been disrobed in front of everyone, and she was a pure devotee or surrender unto the Lord. And you can see how Lord Krishna has saved her at that particular moment. So our likewise many things like Dhruv Maharaj, you can say, the small child who went in the forest for doing the meditation. So at such a young age, so who gives the protection? It's all Krishna, who is so merciful towards his devotees. If we take one step towards him, he will take many steps towards that. So that realization should come within that we should do something for to help ourselves to go back to our Godhead. So taking the shelter of a spiritual master and doing the sadhana is the ultimate things by which we can progress in the bhakti. Okay. So the moment you are doing the more sadhana, you can see like the inner guidance, the Lord will start guiding from the soul which is there inside, and he will give the required knowledge for that soul, and it will give you the required illumination, and it will give you the directions how you can go. But your inner intuition will speak to you, do this, do that, this is right for you, this is not right for you. So try to escape this, try to overcome this, try to do it properly. So all those reactions will come automatically. Yeah, for the one who sees me everywhere, sees everything in me, I have never lost, nor he is ever lost to me. So that is the highest stage of perfection. Since the yogi who engages in spiritual service of the super soul, knowing that I am the super soul, are the one always remains in me all the circumstances. This, see here, Lord Krishna wanted Arjuna to come to that stage. Okay, he's slowly preparing himself because we are advancing in the chapters. That means he's preparing Arjuna to realize that the soul which is there inside him is an ansh of a super soul, and he has to take the direction of that. So he's a perfect yogi who, by comparison to his own self, sees the true equality of all beings in both their happiness and their distress. So some people, by their past karma, by their past deeds and all those things, will be in a distressful situation, will be in an animal species, will be in a different yoni and all those things, and a learned person is the one who could able to see everyone in a different plane. Okay. And that all soul which is there in all living entities is the same. Only depending on their past karma, they are enjoying a different type of karma. So he should be compassionate towards all living entities. So the next section is the necessity of controlling the turbulent mind. Why it is necessary to control the mind? As I said to you, the turbulent water, the one which we see in the flash floods and all, you can't see the inside of the water body, the lake bed or the river bed, whatever you take, you can't see what is inside, but the calm, still water, it's like a mirror image, you can see what all is there in the riverbed, the fishes, the aquatic animals, and everything you can see. Okay, even the small pebble and the sand dunes, you can see that. Okay, although control of mind is undoubtedly a very difficult process, but it is possible, only by doing a practice. They say, 1,000 miles you can walk, but at least you have to start with a step today. Okay, it's not impossible. The only thing is that we need to do the sadhana. Okay. So there's a picture of Arjuna, who is a great archer, got trained under the guidance of Dronacharya, and whatever the ability in a man is again the Krishna, so that we have to realize and use that skill accordingly. Is also the same. It's also the same. Arjuna uvacha yoyam yogastvaya prokta samyena madhusudana etashyaham na pashyami chanchalatvat sitam stiram. Oh Madhusudana, the system of yoga which you have summarized appears impractical and endurable to me, for the mind is restless and unsteady. Okay. So it is first and foremost thing, as we have discussed in our yesterday's class. First is to control the mind. So control the mind, having the senses which have been put into service of the Lord. Automatically the mind will come under control. Chanchalam hi mana Krishna pramadi balavadradam. Tasyaham nigraham manye vayoriva sudushkaram. That means it is easy to control a mind than controlling it is easy to control a wind than controlling a mind. So it is only possible by surrendering onto the Lord. So shifting your focus onto the Krishna will automatically make your senses under control, because he is the one Rishikesha who can control our senses as well as the mind. So again, it's the same analogy here. So for that, what Lord is saying is, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Asamshayam Mahabahu Manotur Nigraham Chalam Abhyasena tu Kaunteya Vairagyena cha Grihyate. So mighty arms and Kunti, it is very undoubtedly difficult to curb, as you said. But for a person who is fixed in his devotion and practices, it is easily for him to attain the practice by detachment. Okay. So we need to do the practice for that. So for the one whose mind is unbridled, self-realization is difficult work because his mind is not in his control. It is like a once you're sitting in a driver's seat in a car and you don't know how to drive, and where the steering will take you, you will go, isn't it? Because you don't know how to drive it. But once you know the driving and the steering and everything is under your control, you can dictate the rules. Similarly, if the mind is not under control and we have to listen to what our mind says. Mind says, see the Netflix, go and see. Mind says, call a friend, call a friend. Mind says, eat something from outside. You will become slave of a mind. But if you control the mind, then you can dictate the terms to the mind by saying, yes, you have to do a sadhana today. You have to finish the 16 rounds. You have to read a text of Bhagavad Gita. So likewise, it will train you. So we have to take a control of our mind, and it comes only through the sadhana. Then automatically it becomes a habit. It is easier for us to do whatever we wanted to do in this spiritual sadhana. So try to practice yoga while engaging in the mind and material enjoyment, like trying to ignite a fire while pouring the water. And similarly, yoga practice without mind control is a waste of time. See, as yesterday I said, yeah, physical exercises is good, but here the food for the soul is the spiritual practices that we have to do it. So completely doing the bodily practices will only serve the body, not the soul. So serving the soul is also in the priority, and we should try to work on that lines. So destination of an unsuccessful yogi. Unsuccessful transcendentalists obtain either heavenly enjoyment followed by aristocratic birth if they are slightly advanced, or birth in the family of a wise transcendental that brings them immediate further training, but not beyond that. But what does a true Vaishnava want? He wanted only the liberation. He don't want to come back to this planet. So likewise, he will stay away from all the practices where their ultimate purpose is to attain the immediate uh, heavenly planets. So the true Vaishnavas, they wanted to go back to the Godhead, Vaikuntha Loka or the Goloka, and they don't want to come back here. What happens to the unsuccessful transcendentalists? Although they begin the process of self-realization with the, but later, any sort of material contact will deviate them from their sustained point. Here we have an example of sage Vishwamitra, So likewise, there were many examples in the literature. So that should never be our process. O mighty arm Krishna, does not such a man who bewildered from the path of transcendental fall away from both spiritual as well as the material success and perish like a riven cloud with no position in a sphere? So that shouldn't be our criteria. Okay, so this is my doubt of Krishna. I asked you to dispel it completely. But for you, no one is to be found who can destroy this doubt. Okay, see, with lot of sadhana, one come to a stage. When they come in contact with the Maya, again, all those practices which have accumulated for the years will go away. Okay, and they'll be cursed for doing the unworthy things and all. So it is not required. So Krishna consciousness is such a thing where you don't have to do the impersonal bhakti, controlling your senses, controlling everything and all. The sadhana itself will give you an enlightenment. What is right and what is wrong. Okay, and so we can continue our practices accordingly, and such person will never fall down. So Supreme Personality of the Godhead said, a transcendentalist engaged in auspicious activity does not meet with destruction either in the world nor in the spiritual world. One who does, my friend, is never overcome by the evil. Here is an example of Ajamila, He was a great Brahmana, but for some unforeseen situation, he was entrapped in the maya of a prostitute, and he'll forget all his Brahmanical practices, and he'll be enjoying with that lady and producing so many sons and all. And in the last son, he names him as a Narayana. When he was bedridden and all the time he was chanting Narayana, not out of a realization for Krishna, but only towards love towards his son Narayana. So when he leaves his material body, the Yamaduta comes to take him. The immediately the Vishnuduta comes and they say, no, he has chanted Narayana, and his position is in the Vishnu Loka. He's not going to come to your world. So one question you may ask, like a person who never did anything good in his whole life, just by chanting the Narayana, that to his son's name, how can he get liberated to the Vishnu Loka? So in the previous life, he was a great Brahmana and he has done so many austerities and everything, but some small mistake for which the God has given him a punishment to be as an Ajamila. That is, he got misguided by a Maya and entrapped in the love of a female, and he has undergone all the karma, and that karma got liberated. Ultimately, because of his previous karma and all, he could remember that Narayana. So because when a person is leaving the material body, he will have an intense pain, just like a thousands of scorpions which are stinging him, and it's very difficult to remember Krishna or Narayana or any other god name. Okay, so that means some amount of a previous birth good karma is there which made him to realize that. Likewise, even one step we are taking towards Krishna, it is fetching for us. So we should never ever try to waste the time and try to do the sadhana. So it's very easy. You don't have to go to a secluded place. You don't have to withhold all your senses. You don't have to do any other things which have been mentioned in that. So simply serving the Lord will free you from all this disastrous situation. Yeah, as I said, again, he'll go into a good family. That again, he has to take a birth, Again, birth means it's a suffering. So this picture again is of the Jada Bharata. You can see this person who is holding the palanquin of Maharaja is the Jada Bharata, and Jada Bharata is a great sage. As I told you in my previous class about us, and he was a great sage by his name. Great king by his name we got this Bharatvarsh, and once they reach a certain age, they take the Vanaprastha, like he will give away everything to his children and wife, and he'll come back. And one day that he will be caught in the maya of a deer, a small deer, which the lady deer will deliver, and she will die. And he was taking care of that small deer, and he'll think that uh, what will happen to this deer. So all the time in his practices, he was thinking about it. Likewise, he will pass away thinking about the deer, and he'll get a deer body, and he remembers what happens in the past life. So once, because of his good karma and all, again, he is born in a good Brahmana family, and he knows what happened in his previous life and all. And this life, he wanted to remain a dumb or numb and not reacting to any of the situations. Likewise, when he was sitting under a tree, when the king was passing by, one of his palanquin bearer will fall sick, and he was not able to bear the palanquin. And king has to reach his home before it is dawn and all. And king himself will come and ask this gentleman to bear the palanquin so that he can reach home. So, and when he was bearing the palanquin, he was very watchful about the steps, not to uh, hurt any of the tiny insects which are there on the ground and all. So likewise, when he was doing so, the palanquin was getting disturbed. It was not in a balance. The king will get angry and he will say, "What are you doing?" He would have straight away objected. "No, why did you accept it?" He said, "I was not willing to come. It is upon your request I came here, and I was bearing this palanquin. And you're not great, you're just a king. You have a little bit of wealth and opulences and such little bit of a popularity, not beyond that. I don't have to respect you," and something like that he'll say. So he will make him realize that self-realization, God realization is the ultimate realization. Having a material opulences is not the way by which a person can be respected. And he realizes that once he go back, and he will take on the path of a spirituality. Likewise, Jadabatta, automatically he will go back to the Godhead. Okay. So our practices should be in such a way that we should take on a inner journey, self journey, that is journey of the soul. That means automatically you will feel more happy in doing service of the Lord. So Krishna conscious activities means except for Krishna, rest of everything else will come apart. Let it be the happiness or the problem or anything else. So if we are making a God-centered Krishna consciousness, then automatically our sadhana will become fixed, and we can enjoy the sadhana and the direction and protection which is given by Lord at every step in our life. Yeah, this is again an example of Jadabarta, and this picture is from the Gaur Mohande, who is the father of Srila Prabhupada, and this small young boy is our Prabhupada, who was when 4 years old. Okay, so because of his past Sukarma, he was born in a Vaishnava family, and because of values inculcated by his father, he was a great Vaishnava from his birth only, and because of him, we are all blessed that this organization got established, and the Song of God we are able to hear through his books. Okay, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So on taking such a birth, he revives the divine consciousness of his previous life, and he again tries to make further progress in order to achieve complete success, O son of Guru. So this is an example of Prabhupada. You know, he is a true Vaishnava. That's how we can make many people Vaishnavas across the globes, and he established so many temples, Vedic schools, whatnot, everything, and many people are benefited out of, and we are also one among them. So that is the power of a true Vaishnava. So our sadhana should also be like that, so that our ultimate goal is to go back to the Godhead, not to come back here. By virtue of divine consciousness of previous lives, so who will become devotees? So we are able to attend the classes, read the Bhagavad Gita, read the Srimad Bhagavatam, while our contemporary friends or the family members are not able to do this, is because of the Sukarma what we have done in our previous life. So which has come to a yield now. That is the reason why we are able to connect to the Lord. So it is not that easy. Just by thinking that we can attend the classes and we can learn about it, we cannot do it. It is a Krishna's desire that he will just tap on our consciousness, come back to us, come back to me, child. So likewise, it is because of his will only we can progress in this sadhana. Okay. And such an inquisitive transcendental stands above the ritualistic principles of the scriptures. So our sadhana should be in such a way that it will invoke that spirituality inside, and we will take the steps towards that. When the yogi engages himself with a sincere endeavor in making further progress, being washed of all the contamination, then ultimately achieving the perfection after many, many years, many births of a practice, he attains the supreme goal. So it's not a one-day process. Like if we are taking up a process today and within a few days or a month or a year, we'll become perfect and all. That should be a continuous process, and we have to sustain in whatever we are doing. Likewise, we can get progress in the bhakti. So yogis are greater than empresses fruity to work as an ascetics because they are in a practicing the bhakti yoga of all the yogis. Those who have a full faith think of Krishna, always think of Krishna and render transcendental loving service to him are the highest of all, because bhakti yoga is the highest of all the yoga. So a yogi is greater than the ascetic, greater than the same thing. So he is the ultimate highest personality when compared to his contemporaries. So for all the yogis, the one with a great faith who always abides in me, thinks of me within himself and renders the transcendental loving service to me. He is and he is the most intimately united with me in yoga. He is the highest of all. That is my opinion. So the more we are doing the sadhana, the more we are protected with the Lord. Okay. So it is something like if physically, if we are fit means we'll be in a position to do the service to Krishna or combat any sort of a physical straining thing. And mentally, if we are fit, then we are able to withstand any sort of a distressful situation, emotional turmoil, or whatever the challenging situations are there. Similarly, spiritually, if we are equipped well enough with the service of Krishna, then Krishna is like an immunity around us, and he will fight with whatever the tough situations are there, and he will take us further in this bhakti. So the only thing is that we have to take a step towards the Krishna, and ultimately he will take care of everything. So you can see all these cowherd boys who are these are whenever Krishna is born, he is born along with other associates. You can see Nityananda Prabhu, and all these cowherd boys are born whenever Lord comes in different avatars. Sometimes in the form of Vanara, sometimes in the form of a cowherd boys. So in a different forms, they accompany the Lord. So they have done a lot of sukarma to be associated with the Lord. Similarly, the gopis also. Okay. So likewise, we should also try to associate with the Lord with the 5 different type of bhakti rasas and try to be in his devotees, devotee association. So in a varying degree, and continuously we should try to go from the outer orbit to the inner orbit of the Lord. Okay, so these are the various stages of the Bhakti Yoga. The first one is the very neophyte stage, giving up of the work, not getting attached to it. Then different type of yogic practices, but physical practices, yes, it will give you certain way, but that is not enough to perform the Bhakti Yoga. Ultimately, we have to control the mind. So mind control only we can progress further on the Bhakti. So otherwise, any point of time, if our mind is not under a control, if Maya is encountered with any sort of a distressful situation, we will fall down. So being a Bhakti Yogi, being a Krishna conscious devotee, we are the highest of all, and ultimately it will help us to do all sort of the sadhana which is required for us to progress in the Bhakti. So ultimately, Bhakti Yoga is the highest one, not the Karma Yoga, not the Jnana Yoga, not the Ashtanga Yoga. It is only the Bhakti Yoga which will help you to go further in a Bhakti and get connected to the Lord and get associated with the Lord and do the sadhana. Hare Krishna. Any doubts? Hare Krishna, any doubts? Anything you wanted to share or anybody else? Hope it is clear because we have completed the Karma Yoga chapters. From next week onwards, we will have the Bhakti Yoga chapters. Isn't it? So can somebody say in these 6 chapters, where did we start our journey and where did we end? Hare Krishna. Nobody? Shashank Prabhu, nobody has any questions?
No, Mataji, everything is crystal clear. But one of the devotees have one question in the comment box. I mean chat box, Mataji.
Oh, she wanted to study sloka. Yeah, only there are 2 meters sloka, Mataji, you volunteer for our Ekadashi sloka recitation. Automatically you will learn.
Okay, Mataji, Hare Krishna. Thank you for nice sessions, Mataji, conducting. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Shashank Prabhu, you can just share my number with this Mataji. So that she will be in contact with me. So you try to attend the Ekadashi recitation, Mataji. Within few weeks, you will learn it.
Okay, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So this particular Karma Yoga chapter, Arjuna was indecisive, not willing to go for the war. Krishna slowly said him, you have to do your work. So how you have to do your work? Before you do your work, you should have a knowledge about the Lord. Okay. Something like theory pado, then do the practical. Okay. Then you have a knowledge about the Lord. That is transcendental knowledge about. Now you got a theory about the Lord. Then how to put that theory into the practice. Okay. That is Krishna consciousness without attaching to any of the results which are doing. That is the practicality. That means you are doing some practical thing out of your theory which we have learned and doing for the betterment of the society, not attaching to any of the results attached to it. Okay. So, but since this is the Bhagavad Gita class and we are learning the philosophical concept and the spirituality, so the highest yoga of this is the Bhakti Yoga. That means devotion service, that is service towards the Lord. So how we have to do it? That is nurturing the soul by doing service towards Krishna. So Krishna is saying, don't get idhar udhar, bhatko mat, by doing the impersonal bhakti, by seeing somebody who is maybe reading a different literature so many times, maybe doing different austerity, maybe doing different sadhana and all. So don't get deviated by all these things. Your presence of mind and your attitude to serve Krishna is enough. Automatically, by doing this japa mantra, attending the aarti, doing the services towards Krishna will take you forward in this. You don't have to worry about any other things. Okay. So ultimately, Bhakti Yoga is the highest of all. And to further progress in the Bhakti, we will come to know in detail in from chapter 7 to 12. Okay, Hare Krishna. I hope I'm clear with this. I'll conclude for today. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Thank you, co-host and participants, for your active participation. See you all next Monday at 7 p.m. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna
Thank you.
Mataji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you.